Local history, local culture, local events, your community. This is the Joe Kelly Show.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. John Pederesi is our guest. Johnny Pitt, as his friends call him, longtime writer for the Observer-Dispatch, and he continues on writing various things. Welcome to the show. Good to see you again.
Thanks. Glad to be here, Joe.
In fact, you've departed from just sports, and you're now writing an occasional feature. You did one on Cooperstown the other day, kind of a travel log, kind
Right,
of. Yeah.
right. And occasionally they'll give me a call to fill in here and there, and I have done some stuff for the Accent magazine. I haven't done anything for, that's a once a month magazine that they have. It's mostly features. I haven't done anything for them in a while, but you know, it keeps my hand.
Yeah. Everything topsy-turvy in the sports world, that's your place of major interest. Everything topsy-turvy, no fans. I mean, I was watching the Yankees, and it's just so hard to get used to.
Oh, right. I think in some ways, they're using crowd noise, artificial crowd noise, or however you want to call it. And actually, there's times when I'm fooled by it myself. I go, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's nobody there. But yeah, it's a different experience, and I think to some degree it affects the games. It affects the players. If you believe that home court advantage or home field advantage, whatever it might be, those kinds of things, guys getting energy off the crowd, and some guys will claim, and I think it's true, that visiting players get inspired by a crowd that's cheering against them as well. So that factor is, who knows what the impact is, but if I were a player, a lot of times, I will say this, a lot of times guys, and women, when they're competing very hard, they hear it, but they don't hear it. So you don't really, you're focusing so hard that it's like white noise or whatever. So you don't really know what the impact is, but it is pretty strange.
That's interesting that you say that. I can remember a baseball player, and I forget who it was now, who said that he could hear somebody yelling, and it wasn't yelling good stuff at him, but he could hear it.
Right.
And then I've heard other athletes say they can't hear anything; they tune it out. So I guess you're a former athlete. You played football. I guess it's the kind of person you are, whether you can turn it out or can't.
Or in the moment, it might be different on different days, or how intense things are, I suppose. I can remember most games I ever played in, I could hear my father. I could hear him, but he was a pretty loud guy.
Yeah. And this was at Hamilton College for football.
Or in high school, yeah, as well. But other times it was like, hey, I got this guy in front of me. He's a beast. I got to deal with him. Nothing else registers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny how that works.
Yeah. The season going forward. Speaking of baseball, any predictions for who's going to be in the World Series?
Well, I like Tampa Bay, very much. I like their team. The other, I don't and the Dodgers and Braves. Well, of course, we won't know. Looking forward here because we're a week out or whatever from when this airs. But I don't even know who won last night. It was 1-1 late in the game, and I went to bed. So I think the Dodgers and Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The speaking of baseball in Utica, we've had our ups and downs with baseball.
Right.
I guess the highlight of it for our generation anyway was the Utica Blue Sox, the championship team, Roger Kahn, all that business. Were you ever going to see professional baseball back here?
Well, right now the minor leagues are in turmoil. and reorganization, whatever the Major League Baseball's proposal is. I think it's pretty tough. It's we had the revival of pro hockey here, which has gone very, very well. But the economics of pro hockey, well, who knows now? We might not even have a season this year.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, but the economics of professional hockey changed considerably, which lent to the success of the last 5 or 6 years here in Utica, because the big league teams, the National Hockey League teams, carry much more of the cost than they. It used to be that the teams here in the lower minors were very much on their own. It's a different economic situation. So hockey is different than baseball. I don't see professional baseball coming back to Utica in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, the field is up there. I mean, it's been improved over the years.
Yeah.
So you got the venue. It's just a shame that can't be used.
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, you do have or have had collegiate baseball, summer baseball there. Maybe it doesn't have quite the same appeal as minor league baseball. Back in the day, I mean, it was a lot of fun back in the Blue Sox days. A little crazy as well. There were a lot of crazy incidents. It was the old Murnane Field was really not an adequate professional baseball venue. I always remember this. I mean, the game was never over 18-15, 14-11. Games would last 4 hours because the team scored so many runs. I'll never forget pop fly to the second baseman. The second baseman's looking up, and all of a sudden the ball's over the right field wall. It was quite close. I'd love to be a left-handed hitter in that ballpark. But then the new ballpark, actually in the beginning, the distances were, which I think was 1985, the distances were so great that nobody could hit a ball out. I think the first year there were only 6 home runs hit there in 36 games, and only one of them to left field, and that's where the wind was coming from the west, north and west. So only one guy yanked one out of there all year, only one right-handed batter. So they brought the fences in a little bit. But it's a very good facility, there's no doubt. And you'd like to see it happen again, but I don't see it happening again anytime soon.
I got another baseball question for you when we come back. Short break, right back with John Pedersesi.